In the heart of a bustling village in Nigeria, where the sun rises with a promise and the roosters crow with hope, lived a young boy named Okonkwo. Only 18 but already a man in many ways, fearless, focused, passionate and above all, God-fearing. He was not born into wealth, no silver spoon, no fancy shoes. But what Okonkwo had, no money could buy, a burning desire to rise. Education was his dream. Not just to escape poverty but to change the story of his family, to rewrite a future that generations before him had surrendered to fate. Each morning as the sun kissed the red earth of the village, Okonkwo would rise. Sometimes to the farm, sometimes to the market. He'd lift baskets heavier than his weight, sell goods and carry loads. Anything legal and honest to earn a few naira. His dream? To save enough for school fees. He believed education was the ladder that could lift him and his family from the pit of poverty. When he wasn't working, he was praying. Praying not for riches but for a chance. But in the same village, just across the dusty road and behind tall gates, lived a man who had all the money Okonkwo needed. Chief Ease. Yes, Chief Ease was Okonkwo's uncle, his father's elder brother. A man born of the same soil, a man admired and feared, a man Okonkwo called uncle. Raised in the same poverty under the same leaking roof, but who had risen to wealth through hard work, sharp business and even sharper connections. It was Okonkwo's father, Chief Obi, who made it possible. Long ago it was Chief Obi who sacrificed his dreams to send Ease to school. When there was only one school bag, he gave it to Ease. When there was only one set of books, he handed them over. When Ease couldn't afford transport to the city, Obi sold his last goat and yams. Because Obi believed in family, in lifting one another. He believed Ease would rise, and help them all rise together. And rise Ease did. He climbed. From a low-level clerk to a transport mogul. From a tenant in the slums, to a landlord in Lekki. He became a businessman, then a politician. When he returned to the village, it was not as the hungry boy who once begged for Gary. He returned with a convoy. With praise singers. With money to spray and stories to tell. To the world, Chief Ease was a success story. A self-made man. A king among men. But the village, they remembered. They remembered who paid the school fees. Who tilled the land so Ease could read. Who stayed behind, poor but proud, so his brother could soar. And now that same brother's son, Okonkwo, stood in need. Yet behind all the wealth, behind the gold chains and flowing igbadas, Chief Ease's heart had grown cold, especially to those who bore his last name. He had houses, cars and followers. He was respected, but those who truly knew him knew something else. Chief Ease was allergic to giving money to family. To strangers he gave generously. He funded church harvests. He sponsored cultural events. He threw money at dancers and musicians. But when it came to his blood, his hands clenched tighter than a drum's skin. One bright morning, Okonkwo rose with a fire in his chest. He had prayed all night, fasted. He had waited long enough. He would go to his uncle, not to beg, but to ask with dignity for help with his school fees. He wore his best clothes patched but clean and worn with pride. As he walked to the compound, the villagers watched. They whispered. They knew why he came, and they feared what would happen. Chief Ease was in high spirits. He was hosting visitors from the city. Musicians played. Praise singers hailed him. It was not a good time to disturb him, they thought. But Okonkwo? He waited, patient, polite, hopeful. Then their eyes met. Okonkwo knelt. With respect he spoke. Uncle, I've come to ask for help with my school fees. I want to further my education. I've worked hard, but I can't afford it all. The smiles vanished. Chief Ease's face twisted. You come here during my celebration to ask for money? Before Okonkwo could respond, slap. A heavy slap. Loud. Public. Humiliating. The slap echoed. Loud. Violent. It sliced through the music. It silenced the drums. It pierced every ear like a whip cracking the sky. All laughter died. Even the birds seemed to stop chirping. A hush fell over the compound. Heavy. Thick. Embarrassing. Mouths hung open. Some stared in disbelief. Others looked away ashamed. A few shook their heads whispering, "Ah, Chief Nona." Eyes darted between Okonkwo and Chief Ease. Pity. Rage. The boy had come with hope and left with pain. But even more, he left with dignity. But Okonkwo didn't cry. He didn't curse. He stood. eyes filled with pain. But no hate, only dignity. "Thank you, uncle," he said softly. "I will find another way." And with that he walked away. That slap? It could have broken him. But instead it built him. He worked harder. He prayed louder. He knocked on doors. He applied for scholarships. He believed. And then the unexpected happened. Someone from the city, a woman who had visited the village, had heard the story. She was moved by his dignity. She reached out. She offered to sponsor his education. Okonkwo studied. He graduated. He didn't just stop there. He became a mentor, a builder of young minds. He returned to the village. But this time not to ask for help, but to give it. He built a small school. He gave scholarships. He taught with love. Some people build wealth. Others build people. Chief Ease had gold. Okonkwo had grace. And in the end it was not the money that changed the village, but the slap that ignited a boy's purpose. So remember this. When life slaps you, don't stay down. Stand up. Lift your head. Say, "I will find another way." Because sometimes, what feels like rejection is just redirection to something greater than you imagined. If you've been moved by Okonkwo's story, like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring tales like this one. And if you're facing struggles, remember, your story isn't over yet. You are stronger than your pain. You are destined for more.